What's going on, guys, and welcome back to Footy with an Edge. We're back again with another live discussion. Today, the topic is: will Kobbie Mainoo start against West Ham? There, Ruben Amorim came out in the press conference today, and he said there are two players with knocks, and we saw Bruno Fernandes holding his hamstring after the previous game. And let's be honest, there has been a lot more load on Bruno's hammies or legs in general based on him playing in central midfield this season, right? Especially in this system. So it's totally possible that uh, Bruno is not available for tomorrow's game, and it's totally possible that Mainoo finally gets his chance ahead of Bruno in the team. So what do you guys think about that, right? Because I think it's super interesting. Um, the whole Kobbie Mainoo fiasco, because obviously so many people were asking him to start early on in the season, and then once we started getting some results, I feel like that chatter has died down a little bit more. Um, And Joao says, "Hello, everyone. Hello, Joao. Nice to see you again. Always a regular on the stream. I appreciate you. Sherpa's here as well. You may have got it correct that Kobbie will get a chance. Yeah, I mentioned this yesterday in yesterday's stream that Kobbie Mainoo may start this game, and it's looking more and more likely. Right? Kerwin's in the chat. Kerwin, how you doing, man? Nice to see you again. Sorry we couldn't get the debate going for you guys. So just so you guys know, today was supposed to be the official fan debate because obviously we have a match day tomorrow. And Shant wasn't really available, taking care of his dogs a little bit, and Nelson's busy with work. Otherwise, we would have Shant debating Kerwin and Nelson debating Sherpa. So we have two opponents, two South African opponents ready, but we don't have any challengers for them. Nelson says hello. He is watching, but I don't think he can actually get onto the stream today. Looks like we have another person wanting to argue with Nelson. Ernest Wright. Ernest, you're the goat, man. You're also here with every stream. Am I right in saying you're from the UK? Please remind me. It takes me a few times to remember these things, guys, but then I get used to it. I know Kerwin's from South Africa. I know Sherpa's from South Africa. I think Joao Tavares is from Portugal, if I remember correctly, but please correct me if I'm wrong. Ernest, let me know where you're calling from. And Aegis Devil says, call me crazy, but I trust the manager to decide who plays based on what he sees in training. No, absolutely. I'm just saying tomorrow, like Bruno might just be out. So if Bruno's out, then we need somebody else to start in his place, and that could be Kobbie, right? And Casemiro could be out too. So we might just have Mainoo and excuse me. We might just have Mainoo and Ugarte starting. We never know. Anthony Kondratenko says if Bruno's not available, of course Mainoo okay in starting 11, but Bruno's available, no. Hey Anthony, nice to see you, man. Our only Belarusian caller, I believe, on the channel. So nice to see the variety. The setup and background looks amazing. Thank you so much. Welcome to Between Two Ferns with Zach Galifianakis, right? I guess I could pull that off, right? Just a bigger beard. And I could be Zach Galifianakis. Kobbie has to take his chance too. Ernest Wright says Nelson love to do it. Sorry. Nelson says Ernest Wright love to do it. Kobbie needs a run of games. Bruno never misses more than one game. Portugal, yes, good memory. Thank you. You're right, from the UK, but originally from Sierra Leone. Are you from Freetown? In Sierra Leone? Where are you from exactly? Man, all this push for Kobbie last he gave no, it's not us pushing for Kobbie. It's more of the situation. So if you guys are just joining the stream, we're not saying Kobbie should start. It's more about, I think Bruno might have a knock, so he might be forced to start Kobbie Mainoo. And maybe he plays Mainoo next to Casemiro. We don't know. Hold on, guys, 1 second. Okay, sorry about that, guys. I have Amazon picking up some parcel I needed to return. I actually tried to get a mobile mic for my cell phone and it's not working, so I had to return it. But I'm sorry about that. May need to pick up another call or so, but you have to do what you have to do. Mainoo and Ugarte started the preseason. Looks like David likes the between two ferns shout. We got Leb's people in here. Absolutely great memory, man. The Alexander Leb. Let's go. Watching from Mauritius. Very nice. Welcome. It's up to Kobbie to earn the chance and take his chance. Kobbie should start. You are right. Born and raised in Freetown. Very nice. Very nice. Ernest, welcome to the channel, man. And I know you've been here a lot. You've been supporting the channel a lot, so I appreciate you. Ayush is here as well. Another regular viewer. Appreciate you, bro. I think the starter issue is with Casemiro and Shaw, so maybe those two positions might. Are you sure? Do you have concrete information about that? Because um, I don't know if he actually took the names. Andy, just admit the Amazon order. Why would I send it back then? If I'm such an Amram merchant, why would I send back the Amram cutout? Um, it would make more sense if it was like a Dallo cutout, and I wanted to send it back. If Kobbie plays against a struggling West Ham team, even if Bruno's not injured, it will be better for the team. It means it helps us in January and other times, allows us to rotate Bruno at times. I'd start Kobbie and Ugarte. Besides Lacey, Kane, Leon, and Obi. Oh, besides Lacey, Kone, Leon, and Obi are not. Wait. Besides Lacey, Kone, Leon, and Obi are not in the U21 squad. Okay, got it. West Ham did beat Newcastle. I don't know where the concept of struggling games come from. So, guys, yeah, please drop a like. We got 50 people live. I'm gonna say this: West Ham is not gonna be an easy game, right? They have defensive mistakes on them, but Nuno is a good coach, and they beat Newcastle 3-1. They beat Burnley 3-2, and they drew 2-2 against Bournemouth. Now the Bournemouth game was their worst game of the season by far because I think they conceded 4 xg, and Bournemouth only converted 2 goals. Right, they had 25 shots and 4 xg. So even on a per shot basis, the xg was very high, and somehow they hung on for dear life in that game. But against Burnley and Newcastle, they had high xg and low possession. Right, and even in the Bournemouth game, they played with 24% possession. So there are actually no easy games. Yeah, good point with by Shiva Mahuja. They were 2-0 up on Bournemouth, and they were very lucky to hold on to the win. But still, regardless, um, from what we know about these players' fitness levels, it seems like Amram's trying to manage their game time. He would get shit on for making changes if they failed, so he's protecting himself. Um, you mean if he changed Bruno and Casemiro from the team? I don't think he would get shit on. I think we would just realize like how bare bones the squad is because Casemiro can't play 90 minutes. Looks like Bruno can play 80, 85 minutes. And you know, the drop off from them to Mainoo is so big that he would just be proven right for not picking Mainoo through the rest of the season. At least that's how I would see it. West Ham missing Paqueta for the red card is great against us. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that red card was something. Let's just put it that way. Casse played 90 minutes on Sunday. Absolutely. I'm worried about that. Players who need minutes at least for an hour. West Ham are on a downturn. Yep, I agree. Mount probably can't even walk today after first 90 minutes for United last Sunday. I mean, the same for Casemiro, right? So that's also a concern. Yeah, I don't think he takes Bruno off, but if Bruno can't play because he has a knock, then he doesn't have a choice, right? So that's the interesting thing. Pre-game conference, Emram reported 2 players could be doubtful. Any idea? So I think one of them could be Bruno, but also Bruno he's a freak. He's a fitness freak. So there's every chance that Bruno just plays, regardless of the doubt. Sorry guys, give me a second. I just need to sort out this delivery. I'll be right back. So sorry. Okay. So what was I saying? Yeah, so I think it could be a case of Kobbie Mainoo starting, and if he doesn't want to risk it's not dog, it's a cat. It's my cat right there. Bang. She likes sitting in the background, but she's shy on camera, so she's sitting directly behind me. If we win tomorrow, do we start believing again for the United Strand? I want to say no. I don't think that guy's cutting his hair ever in his life again. I don't know, man, because I think it's silly to expect teams to win 5 games in a row, because you could easily have, like, I don't know, 4 wins and a draw. That's not a bad run. Let me see. West Ham, Wolves, Bournemouth. I think United Stand had a best bet if or United Strand had his best bet if we had beaten Everton. Then beating Palace, West Ham, Wolves, and Bournemouth is I would say doable. But Villa away, Newcastle at home, I think those are difficult games. Guys, we're playing Wolves on December 8th and then again on December 30th. That's crazy. Cats are greater than dogs. How to start a war in the chat. I mean, I prefer cats over dogs, but it's like a very small preference. I love dogs too. Dogs are much more loving in the sense that they, want to spend more time with you and do more things with you. But they're also more needy, right? Whereas cats are just chilling in the background, like I just showed, and whenever they want to get some love, they'll come at you. 5 wins in a row was a mad goal. If he said 5 undefeated, he could have got a cut the other week. Yeah, I agree. Yep. PL has this scheduling quirk once a season. Interesting. But yeah, what do you guys think? Let me get a poll going. Oops, hold on. Start a poll. Does Kobbie start against West Ham? All right, get your answers in the chat, guys. Does Kobbie start against West Ham? That's the question. That's the question we got. Yeah, absolutely, Joao. I also slightly prefer cats, but again, that's not that big a deal. Looks like the courier guy is here, so we're all sorted, guys. The wifey's got it taken care of. You're obviously a very big supporter of Bruno, but if neither Anderson nor Wharton can be a suitable replacement, who's the best midfielder that could replace him or be the best bench option? So interesting question, Jack Burr 35. So for me, it's not that I think Bruno's like the be all and end all, right? There's plenty of players that can in the world actually that can upgrade on Bruno in our team. The concern I have is, can we, if someone else comes in, gives us more defensive work, more progressive carrying, um, more physicality, more legs in the midfield, all that is great. But where do we get the creativity that Bruno gives us? Right? That's the only question. Because Bruno's creativity is unmatched. Like, he's one of one in that sense. You could say De Bruyne is on his level. You could say a few players in the last 10 years are on his level. But that's how good Bruno is, because we like to look at De Bruyne, give him his flowers in a very good City team, but we don't do the same thing for Bruno, right? We don't give him the mitigating circumstances of him being in a much worse team than De Bruyne and still putting up elite numbers. So, in my opinion, are there players that could be much better than Bruno in Amram's system? Absolutely. But I think replacing Bruno, getting an Anderson or Baleba, whatever the best two midfield you want to pick out, it doesn't do much unless we have our tens firing really well, our wingbacks also doing well, right? So you take Bruno out of the team, you also need to improve the wingback. So that's kind of my point, which is replacing Bruno is not just getting a new midfielder. It's also improving our wingbacks. It's also making sure we have cover in the 10 space, so that, when one of them is out, another person can come in and cover, and then we can also create a lot of chances through other areas of the team. Because it's only, if you talk about Bruno Fernandes, the only thing that comes to mind for me is chance creation. So can we replace his chance creation elsewhere in the team? And then obviously improve on the aspects that he's bad at. So that's kind of my point. So next year, if we let Bruno go, or Bruno's not a starter anymore, or Bruno plays in the 10, then we need somebody in the 8 that can do a lot more than he can do, but also do some of what he can do. Right? I think that would be my overall point. Let me read some of the comments. Richie says he's a dog person. Recent encounters have turned his head. Yes, it's my influence over here, guys. And there's a cat in his neighborhood that's given babies, like a wild cat. India has a lot of wild animals, so you guys need to get used to that. We don't need a like for like replacement. Absolutely, Sean makes a good point. We don't need a like for like replacement, but overall in the squad, we need to replace the things that Bruno gives us, right? So it may not have to come from the midfield. I think we're also lacking a backup for Mbumo, by the way, in the team. Mount can probably do backup work okay for Cunha on the left hand side. We need a better left wing back. We need a better central center back. So all those things also need to improve, because taking Bruno out is going to leave a big hole. Kerwin says if Bruno's injured, then I'm starting Kase and Mount in the midfield. Interesting. It's not the worst shout, because Cunha might be back. Ernest says, are you worried about the game tomorrow? For me, I am, because for some reason, when we're faced with this opportunity, we never take it. Bro, Ernest, guys, smash a like for Ernest in the chat, and give him some love, because this is a fantastic point. Me and Rishi were talking about this yesterday. This team, as much as we are unpredictable in the sense that, games that we should win, we go and lose. The overall, the medium term picture of that, medium term version of that, is that there's an opportunity here, real opportunity. Tottenham drew their game yesterday. Let me see there's some games going on today too, right? Let me just pull up the schedule. Hold on, so I know exactly what I'm talking about. So, Man City beat Fulham yesterday. Everton beat Bournemouth yesterday, and Newcastle and Tottenham drew. So we have a great opportunity to kind of set ourselves apart from the rest with the win against West Ham tomorrow. Because let's be honest, they're not in great form. Pound for pound, we have a much better team. There's no argument there. Like Palace, you could have the argument, but West Ham, there's no argument. But the question is, will our players turn up and capitalize on the opportunity, like Ernest has said here? And I am worried that we're not going to capitalize on an opportunity that we have, because we have not seen the evidence of that yet. Us winning against West Ham tomorrow will give me proof or evidence of something I haven't seen before, just like beating Palace and playing two halves with similar intensity gave me evidence of something I haven't seen before. So, Ernest, this is a fantastic point, and more people need to be talking about it. Hopefully that does change tomorrow. Let's see. Shiva Mahuja says Cunha and Mbumo Xerxes up top. Yeah, I think that's what it's going to be. If Cunha is available, that's how it's going to be. No Man's Sky Clippy says, hey, how you doing? I believe Kobbie ain't going to start even doing AFCON. Ooh, it's a hot take. Hot take. I do think you're wrong, though. I think Kobbie will start doing AFCON. Guaranteed. I agree on Gallagher, still young and with the brain formatted by Simeone. Who said Gallagher? What's the worst case scenario if we sign Anderson or Baleba? Would Pogba numbers be a success or failure? Pogba was, again, a one of one, bro. I think he put up great numbers, but people tend to forget he was very injury prone. That was also a concern. So if we sign Anderson or Baleba as a starter and they become a squad player, then that's a problem. If we're signing somebody as a squad player and they have some injury problems, I don't think that's the worst thing in the world. So that would be my point. But Pogba on his day was like the best midfielder in the world. I don't think anyone can argue that. He was wasn't he man of the match in the World Cup final? Am I wrong about that, or was it Mbappe? Maybe I'm wrong about that. What did Neville say? I'm missing the. Neville said about Gallagher. Okay, he's their best bench option to bring in January, and I'll die on this hill. He's 22 mil and his creativity, but is undoubtedly part of his game. He's got a great cross. Gallagher, the only thing is, what are his wages, right? Let me see. Capology. Let me look at Gallagher's wages right now, and I can answer your question. Gallagher. Gallagher is making 230,000 euros per week. So that would be the only thing. Do we want to pay him as much as Mbumo and Cunha? Is that something we want to do right now? I'm not sure about that. That would be my only concern. Stray is the right word. Okay, fair enough. I don't like cats because I was attacked by one when I was a kid, and since then never been a fan of them. Um, are we talking about like lion or leopard, bro? Like, what kind of cat were you attacked by? Or sorry, tiger or leopard? How big was this cat? And how small were you? Ugarte plus Casemiro is 3 wins, 3 draws, 1 loss last season. Interesting. That's a good shout. Villa, Brighton, Liverpool, Sunderland. What is this? Interesting. Don't show the table to the players or they'll piss themselves. Yeah. Alex says, evening all. Sorry I'm late. No worries, mate. Nice to see you again. And welcome to the stream. Joao Gomez is on 100K plus. He was on 80K, and that helped with my opinion. No, he's making a lot of money. With bonuses, he's on 130. So that could be a concern. I can see Forrest replace Elliot Anderson with Gallagher. Not really the same player, and also the wage profile is very high for them. Also same. I was also attacked by a dog, but I don't hate dogs. I love dogs. I think it's more to do with the environment they're in, and certain dog breeds are very aggressive, like pit bulls. And any variation of that as well. 130K for 20th position. I agree. I don't like the idea of Gallagher in January, by the way, wages plus profile. No, I said the same thing, Alex. I think it's an interesting point. Guys, we have 80 people watching and only 25 likes on the stream. Please show your homie some love and drop a like on the stream. Appreciate you guys. Unless people want to watch sideways passing for 90 minutes and 0 ball progression from midfield, then Cassie and Ugarte should never start together under Amram. I think that's a little harsh. What I would say is Casemiro and Ugarte can work well in some ways. That actually allows Casemiro to go forward a bit more, because he's not really an out and out. Or let me frame this carefully. He can be a very good 6. He has a profile of a very good 6, but he can also play as an 8. We've seen him get forward this season against Brighton. He was playing on the left wing a couple of times. And he does like to get forward. He does have a good header on him. So him going into the box is a useful skill set. Casemiro. I'm talking about Casemiro, Brian. Am I the only one who thinks that Mainoo will get a chance? Mainoo? Do you mean Mainoo? Does Kase have legs for that, even for 60 minutes? Yeah, I think he does. He doesn't have legs to do both. He doesn't have legs to go forward and go back. I think Kase has legs to kind of do one or the other. And the good thing with Ugarte is he can do a lot of the covering for him. The reason why Kase looks dead on his feet is because he has to do the legwork for Bruno sometimes. So that's the problem. I agree with Bruno. He says can't pay someone 220,000 pounds a week to sit on the bench. It wouldn't be 220,000 pounds. It would be 180,000 euros. Pounds, something like that, because he's 230,000 euros. Excuse me. If Bruno's out, the only reasonable replacement in midfield is Casemiro and Mount. Mount is the only player who has Bruno's work rate and his progression. Yeah, this is a good point, but I would also say, who do we have? Is Cunha back, right? If Cunha is back, then Mount might be the one who starts next to Casemiro. But then, dude, from Kobbie's like mental state, like how would he feel about that? Because you're sitting here wondering how the hell am I going to get any game time? Like Mainoo has to leave in the January then, right? So that's the only thing I'm concerned about. I feel like this is kind of maybe one of our perfect opportunities for Mainoo to get some game time and potentially see something that we want to see for AFCON. So I would be excited by that. Alex says, watched your Xerxes vid earlier. Hadn't noticed how poor Casemiro was in terms of distribution until he pointed out. Do you think some of it was just down to timing or generally poor execution? He just had a bad game, right? Casemiro is a big boy, so to speak, right? Very experienced player. And for me, it's not something. I think it's okay to be harsh on a 33-year-old midfielder that's won 5 Champions Leagues. Because if he can't make if he's breaking down your attack 4, 5, 6 times and a half, then you have to call it out. So I'm not saying drop Casemiro. That wasn't my point, but my point is that I think the game is a second too quick for him now, considering where he is. So in my opinion, that's part of the problem. I think Casemiro last season was giving us maybe 3 good games out of 10. This season, he's almost doubled that. He's giving us 6 games out of 10, which is a really good sign. But the games that are bad from him are stinkers, right? That's the problem because he doesn't have the legs. If he needs to go 5 yards to beat a player, he usually loses that race. If he has to go 5 yards to press a player, he usually loses that race. That's why he goes down so much and gets more yellow cards or red cards. So that's my concern with Casemiro. I feel like he will come good. It's just going to take us some time. Ernest says he was attacked by a neighbor's cat. I was 3 back then. That feeling scared me for the longest time. Now that I'm older, I don't fear them anymore. Just won't have them as a pet or be around them. Right. Fair enough. Well, you haven't met my cat, and she's the most scared of scared cats you will ever see. I'll open a plastic bag to put something in it, and she will run away. Right. So I think you're good with my cat, but I hear you, man. Sometimes you have scarred, memories that scar you. Are we actually active in January or what? By the way, guys, we recorded another episode of the not Stat Patters, Three Devils podcast this morning. So that's going to be out on James's channel. So do go check that out. We did a lot of transfer discussion on it. We talked about Semenyo, Joao Gomez. We talked about Ederson from Atlanta as well. And we also did a preview of the West Ham game. So it's going to be super interesting. Go check that out. Is Bruno injured? He may be. We don't know. He hasn't necessarily confirmed that. In the press conference, he just said that 2 players have knocks, and we don't know who that's going to be. Alex says, totally agree. Experienced players need to lead by example in terms of how they perform and try to be consistent. Yeah, absolutely. Ernest says, he's still talking about dogs and cats. Brighton owner accused of running a 600 million football gambling syndicate. Whoa, whoa, whoa. What is this? Brighton gambling syndicate. Jeez. Okay, 19 minutes ago. Let's see what TalkSport has to say. Or maybe we'll open up Yahoo. Let's see Yahoo. Super interesting. This is Tony Bloom, right? Yeah, Tony Bloom. Let's go. Let's go. Let's cover this story live, guys. We got to see this. So apparently, sorry, guys. Need to sneeze. Running secret betting syndicate. Okay, it's a big scandal, guys. 250 million in gambling profits. Wow, okay. It's a big scandal, guys. I think this might be a more of a stat patterns conversation. Rishi, thoughts? Okay, this is way too big a topic for us to do justice on this live call. And I would rather have all the details right before I talk about it, but this looks like a big scandal. Thank you for sharing that, Ayush. And maybe that means points deductions for Brighton. That could mean relegation for Brighton. It could mean a lot of potential things, and so maybe they give us Baleba for 10 million, right? Um, Alex says Mike McGrath reporting Keith Smith is staying put at AZ until summer. Okay. Neville says I feel confident about West Ham. I think like the Sunderland game, it'll be a routine win. So Sunderland wasn't a routine win. Sunderland for me was our one of our best wins of the season because we had a clean sheet and we beat an informed team at home, and we looked comfortable for both halves. So for me, I would say, what's it called? We need to respect West Ham, and we also need to respect our win against Sunderland, and hopefully go make it a comfortable win. The Discord chat was all over this earlier. Are you talking about the Tony Bloom stuff? Let me see. What people are having a debate on Discord right now, guys? Come on, have some shame. Come on to the video and have the engagement. Jesus, do I have to spell it out for you guys? I'm live right now. Why are you talking on Discord? Let me see. Belabor for 20 million. Who says no? It's a claim made by a third party. We don't know the truth as of now. Absolutely agree. Need a proper journalist to investigate the facts. Haven't read the Times article. Good point. Tabi says, guys, Baleba is coming to United. This Tony Bloom thing is a gift. LOL. Yeah, it's a gift to someone. Someone's gonna make a lot of money off of this. Nelson says, "Oops, yeah, bro, you should know better. Why are you on Discord? Come have the discussion here. We're talking about it live. Let me also react." Seriously doubt top 4. We don't have Hendrik Mkhitaryan. Abhishek is also in the Discord. Let me just hold on. Let me just yell at these guys. Hopefully they get the message and then they're back here. And devolved into semantics, so it's better you don't read it. I mean, bro, one could argue a lot of what is said in this forum is semantics. Remember we spent an hour and a half talking about Mason Mount and Mainoo yesterday. What's the name of James's channel? It's Manchester United Muppeteers. But it'll be a collaboration link with both my channel and Semix's channel, so you should see it on your feed either way. Alex says, hope so. See how it goes. Guys, the lines are open. The StreamYard link is pinned in the chat. If someone wants to come have a conversation, just talk about United, talk about Mainoo, please feel free to do so, and I'll bring you guys in. I know Nelson's not available today. Sean's taking care of his dogs. So if anyone else wants to join, this is your chance. Ayush, do you want to come appear on the channel? Would love to have a discussion with you. I've seen you a lot on the channel as well. Ernest, you're also welcome to come share your thoughts. Join the StreamYard. You can do it with your phone. You can do it with your computer as well. Super easy, super user-friendly. Do you guys see the news that Cole Palmer sleeps in a single bed shaped like a red racing car? Okay. No. Is this the perfect foil to the Tony Bloom story, guys? Thoughts? Also unconfirmed. Guilty as charged. I'm having at least discussions on Discord, including cricket, while contributing to the YouTube discussion. Multitasking. Okay, fair enough. I just don't know what I would say. Bro, we just talk about anything. We talk about your thoughts on the team. If you can sit here and listen to us for hours on end, you have some thoughts to share. And you don't even have to think too much because I'll ask you questions and you can just give your honest opinion. That's it. And actually, that would be great. Why don't you hop on right now? Nobody's gonna hurt you for sure. I'm pretty friendly. Kobbie doesn't have the pace to play in the system. Yeah, it's kind of the Kobbie conversation is getting pretty old, right? In terms of what he has and what he doesn't have, because I feel like anytime someone asks, why doesn't Kobbie play in this team, I try to explain why he doesn't play, and then people think I don't like Kobbie, and vice versa. If someone says, Kobbie isn't good enough, then I'm forced to defend Kobbie in a way to say that he can come good. We don't know what he's doing in the background, and Yeah, absolutely. Rishi's right. Ayush, you do have a lot to share. Uh, People get very defensive and protective of academy lads. Yeah, I agree. But you know what it is, right? It's like I guess my nature on United, especially with all the negativity, is to be a bit of a contrarian. Not just because I want to be a contrarian, because that's genuinely the topics I've heard have been, or sorry, the takes I've heard have been so outlandish that I have no choice but to play the other side. And with Kobbie, I think it went too far at the beginning of the season in terms of get him in the team, get him in the team, get him in the team. And now I feel like, people have kind of backed off it, but the second we have an opportunity, they're back on that train to be like, get him in the team. Um, yeah, absolutely. Lacey's gonna make the bench tomorrow. No, Nelson, I mean like the general lexicon of like football YouTube. Our channel is a bit of a contrarian channel, right? Because we're positive. Within this channel, sure, you could be the contrarian. Um, Kobbie was just a foil and stick to poke Amram with. Absolutely, this is spot on by Shant. I think this is another one of those things, right? Just like how system and formation and too rigid or too stubborn were things to used to beat Amram with. Kobbie is another one, right? Because people just want him to fail. Um, Bench for sure, but only on the pitch if we're up 2-0 in the 80th minute. Yeah, I think so too. I don't think he gets thrown into a game where there's physicality on the line. There's potentially other issues that he could come up against, and we don't want him to get discouraged. We want him to have a good debut, feel good about playing in the first team. Okay, Abhishek says his YouTube notifications are off. That's why you only see me on match days. um okay, I'm not going to read out the other thing you said, Abhishek, because I'm not trying to fan any flames here. I don't know if you mentioned it, but what are your thoughts on Stila, apparently highly regarded in the United top branch? Only concern with Stila is the physicality. Actually, I have two concerns with Stila. One is I think he's already making 150,000 pounds a week. So the only problem is if we get him in and he's not a starter, then what do we do then, right? Because as much as I can think Ederson is going to fit into the Premier League very well because he looks like he has a Premier League body, or Premier League physicality, however you want to look at it. We don't know how good Ederson's going to be once he comes to the Premier League. And in the same way, I don't know how good Stila is going to look when he comes to the Premier League. Because his, if I'm looking at Stila's passing output, like very high volume passer, high volume progressive passer as well, good shot creating actions, very good creative numbers as well. So he can do a lot of what Bruno does, but it's just a matter of, can we see him adapting to the physicality of the league, or is he going to look like Florian Wirtz, right? That's the issue that I have. So if I'm looking at this guy here, wait, do I have this wrong? Is he only on 87,000 pounds a week? Hold on a second. We have a few people joining the studio, so I'll bring you guys on. Give me 1 second though. Let me look at Steela's wages. Yeah, he's making about 100,000 euros a week. So to be fair, that's not too bad. We could give him the Ahmad contract or maybe even slightly less, and still be in a position where we're not paying him too much. So yeah, I actually maybe Steela won't be bad. It depends on how much we have to pay for him as well. Let's see. Um, Ederson and Steela would need some time to adjust to PL. Gomez wouldn't, but then, like you say, wages. I think Ederson will take less time than Steela, in my opinion. Ederson's got a Premier League ready body, based on what I've seen. Maybe you guys disagree. English wise is normal. I also think it's a failure of United to not bed Kobbie in immediately. Did we not send Baxter Preston when he was 20? Yeah, I agree. That's definitely a problem. Let's bring on Ernest Wright, and then I'll bring on Ayush next. Ernest, how you doing? You're on mute. Yeah, still can't hear you. If you want to test out your audio, I'll bring you in after Ayush. Okay. Cool. Ayush, how you doing?
What's up? Let me
How are you?
see if am I
Yeah.
on mute or not?
No, no, you're good. I can hear you.
Okay. What's up?
I am
So,
good.
what's
Yeah.
the discussion that you want to have? I don't think I can comment on the chat as of now. It's not letting me connect my YouTube's not getting connected via StreamYard. But anyways, so
Yeah. No problem.
yes,
I'll
this is
ask the
Ayush.
questions, man.
On
You just need to share your you just need to share your thoughts. Don't worry about the chat.
okay.
Chat's gonna be giving you compliments in a second, so I'll let you know when they say good stuff. I'll keep the bad things to myself. Okay.
Yeah, I can
Uh.
read it. I just can't. I
Okay. Okay.
can't respond back.
That's okay. Well, you can talk, right?
My
You can
ability
talk.
to
You can
fight back
respond.
is limited.
Yeah. Well, you can use your words, spoken word, not written
Yeah.
word. But Ayush, so where are you calling in from right now?
So right now I'm in Bletchley,
Oh,
UK.
right. You had mentioned UK. Yeah.
This time next week I'll be back in India.
Nice, nice. Moving there back there permanently or
Yeah, yeah. I
temporary?
mean, my visa is running out, so I'm going back.
Got it, got it. Look at the respectful immigrant right here, you know?
Yeah,
Not overstaying his welcome as you know some people like to blame us of doing. I may have overstayed my welcome now in Canada because I'm a citizen now. But
yeah.
yeah, I still think some people want me to go back to where I came from, right? But anyways, Ayush, how long have you been supporting United, man? It's nice to have the conversation here.
Oh, that's a very long story. So I started maybe 2002.
Mm,
So I don't know if you remember from our childhood, like 2002 World Cup, Football World Cup. That was
yep,
the one
in
which was
Japan.
really marketed to the Indian audience because
In Japan,
we
right?
had it in
The one in
South
Japan.
Korea
Yeah.
and Japan,
Yeah, yeah.
and it's happening so close to home. And I think Premier League broadcast
Isn't that
had
the last
started
one
a
that
few
Brazil
years ago.
won? That's the last one that Brazil won, right?
I think so. Maybe they
Yeah.
won. Have they not won since then?
No, 2006 was
They won five. That was their fifth one. That was their fifth title.
2002
After
was
that,
their last one, I believe. Yeah, Rishi says that's the last one.
could be.
There was
Yeah,
Ronaldo, Ronaldinho. You know, they had a cracked attack,
yeah,
and that was the last one they won. 2006 was Italy. 2010 was Spain, right?
yeah.
And then
2010 was Spain.
14 was Germany, 18 was France, and 22 was gosh, who won
Argentina.
Qatar? Argentina, yeah, Argentina,
Yeah,
exactly.
the
Um,
most rigged World Cup
scandalous
ever.
World Cup, scandalous World Cup. We got Nelson's
Yeah.
hacked Sean's account, guys. Um, yeah. So you've been okay. So you've been supporting from
Yeah,
2002.
so
So
basically
you did
that
you
was
watch
the time
Yapstam?
when
You watched Yapstam? The tail end of
no, no,
Yapstam?
no. So
I didn't know
at
you
that
were into that.
time, if you remember, Premier League broadcast was not regular. So if you
Mm,
had like a cricket match come up, then there's like India playing somewhere in South Africa or maybe Australia, and then the match does not get telecast.
mm-hmm,
So because of that, and also at home, nobody really understood what football really was,
mm-hmm,
except for like you get 22 men on the ground and people start kicking the ball around. It's not
yeah,
like cricket that every ball is a set piece and you're scoring runs or doing something.
yeah,
So didn't really have a lot of TV exposure. I would try to watch as many matches as possible and then just follow on manunited.com and read news
yeah,
about transfers. And my earliest memory is of I think David Beckham crossing in the ball to someone. And I mean, there are so many of those crosses that you can see now. But
yeah,
that's one of my earliest memories. And then obviously 2003, like the biggest news that Beckham's the scandal regarding the boot hitting Beckham's head, and then he's leaving, and then who's gonna get the number seven shirt, and then there's this 18-year-old who's coming in, and why I don't know why Sir Alex has given this number seven shirt to this young boy called Cristiano.
yeah,
But
yeah,
from the
yeah.
first moment, man, I watched that match, the match in which
Ronaldo's first one.
Ronaldo
Yeah.
made his debut,
Wait. So have
and
you? How long have you been in the UK now?
3 years.
Three. Have you seen any United games in person?
Yeah, I went to the
Yeah,
in April. I went to the Derby, United Cities nil-nil draw. Probably
nice.
one of the more boring games, but yeah, I was
Yeah,
happy
yeah,
that we didn't lose on my
yeah.
first
Which
visit.
where were you sitting? Where were you seated?
I was way back, like when you hear the commentators say Road Z, like he put it in
Yeah,
Road Z. I was sitting in Row Z
yeah. Just
on
outside the stadium.
just beside the Stretford end at the very last corner.
So you were in the
And
corner. Okay,
it was a last
nice.
minute thing. One of my friends was like, "Let's go. I'll book tickets and we can leave." And for me, travel is about 2 hours.
From
One way
Bletchley.
travel is 2 hours to Manchester, so it's not possible that I'll have to dedicate my entire day to go and travel, go and
Yeah,
see a
yeah, yeah.
match. And if
Also,
it's in
the
the night, I won't have a chance coming back.
public transit in the UK is horrible, man. The trains and stuff are
Yeah,
so expensive. It's crazy. I
it's
can never
extremely
understand it.
expensive.
Isn't it cheaper to take a flight somewhere else in Europe than take the train in the UK?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
something like that? Yeah. It's
yeah.
crazy, man. I
So
don't know what sense that makes.
the cheapest ticket from like London or London to Manchester is probably £90, 90,
That's
80,
crazy.
90
Man.
pounds. At least
Isn't
for
the
me, it
ticket
costs
cheaper?
£90 from Bletchley in Milton Keynes.
That's one
And
way? Is that one way?
you can get a flight to anywhere in Europe, like with British, not the cheap ones with EasyJet or anything, but you can get flights for 100, to other parts
Yeah.
of Europe from the UK.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
And is
it's
that a
very
one-way
expensive.
train? Is that a one-way train cost or two ways?
Yeah, no, two
Yeah.
ways, two ways.
Two ways? Yeah,
If
okay.
even if you book one way, it's still the same.
Yeah, yeah.
Not
Got it.
much.
Anyways,
There's not
Ayush,
much
tell us,
difference.
tell us what you feel about United this season, and tell us about this West Ham game as well. How are you feeling about this game? How are you feeling about this season so far?
Um, I don't know about the season. I'm very, very unsure about where we are going. Like, not where we are going in the sense, but where we'll end up. Um, it's obviously clear that there's lots of improvements required, but whether there will what how many hiccups we'll face in the on the path, that's something that's yet to be seen. And
Hmm.
obviously for the for the past 10 years, the one thing that we can be sure of this team is, irrespective of who the manager is, who the players are, it's that we can never be sure of what the result's going to be on the weekend. So
Hmm.
it's really hard to say that where we'll end up. I think it should be somewhere between 6th and 10th. And if we are a bit lucky, we might go into top four, as like what you guys have predicted in your earlier videos, that will get top four.
Well,
That's
it's
something
not
that's
lucky.
very,
That would be Amarim overperforming on the
yeah,
quality of the squad, right? So that
yeah.
wouldn't necessarily be lucky. Now, if you're telling me we're gonna go get Semenyo and a midfielder in January,
Hmm.
then I would say, okay,
Yeah,
maybe our
player
expectations
signings,
should be
player
higher.
signings obviously change the probability of what's going to happen, and
Yeah.
it's definitely I would say it's highly likely that we'll end up in the top four if we do sign someone like a Semenyo, like say even not if our top midfield targets, but a stopgap arrangement who is who doesn't tire out at 60, 80 minutes,
I'll tell
and can
you,
play
I'll
a
give a
run of
hot
games.
take. Yeah, you
Yeah.
Ayush, you were worried about not adding enough to the conversation. I will give a hot take, and then you can be the guy that gets the compliments. Because for me, if we get Semenyo to play left wing back, let's say,
Yeah.
or Semenyo can play any position, but I think let's say in our fully
Yeah.
fit team with all the players available, he plays left wing back, right? Because
Hmm.
he would be the right-footed Ahmad that Amram has been talking about on the left wing. Because he's talked about, Ahmad is good on the right side. We need someone like Ahmad on the left side who's right-footed. He said that in the press
Hmm.
conference. So if we get a Semenyo in January and
Yeah.
we get Ederson, right? Ederson from Atlanta, I think we're getting top four. I think that's almost a done deal, because the problem is the other teams around us are very inconsistent. You look at Villa; they are
See, I'd
horrible
agree
on the
with
underlying stats.
yeah, I'd agree with you on Semenyo that getting him on the left wing is definitely quite strong. But I'm a bit apprehensive about Serie A signings. And even though I have nothing but praise
Have you
for
seen
Ederson from what
Ederson?
I've
Yeah, have
seen.
you seen him play?
I've seen highlights. I've seen highlights.
Yeah.
I've read about what others have written about him, and there's always a like when I sometimes because I am also happy quite happy to watch Syria games when Scott McTominay is playing.
Mhm.
So I do see those games, and I feel that they're a bit lazy in the play compared to like the high tempo of the Premier League. So I don't know if his stats, his performance is being amplified there because of that, because they're not so aggressive in charging
Mhm.
and closing down players. And so with
Yeah, the
Edison, I would
pace of the
say that
league is lower.
there is.
The pace of the league is lower, is what
Yeah,
you're saying. Yeah.
yeah. So I would compare
Ayush, why
Edison
don't you
to
just
yeah,
give me 1 second? I'll just bring in the other callers as well because I think we can
sure,
have a
sure.
nice panel chat here. Let's bring in
Yeah,
Ernest and let's bring in Rishi and also Berminator. Ernest, welcome back
right.
to the show. Oh, your mic is still not
You're
working, my friend.
muted.
Yeah, yeah. You can figure it out. I'll talk to the others. I'll keep you on screen if you want. Just check your settings. Click the three dots next to your name and see if you can edit mic settings. Berminator, welcome to the show.
How's it going, Andy? Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can. Where are you calling in from?
I'm from Kentucky.
Very nice.
Yeah, Western Kentucky.
Nice to see you. Might be the first Kentucky fan to call in for sure.
There you go. Awesome. Yeah, this is a great community, Andy, that you built. This is awesome. Like hearing Ayush and his background following Man United. That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, why don't you tell us your story too, man?
Yeah, no, I started watching soccer around 2006 in the World Cup, the Germany World Cup. My dad brought me
Yep.
to the games, and I growing up in Burma. Like it was just Liverpool, Arsenal, or United or Chelsea. So I just went Man United.
Bro, you grew up in Burma.
Yes, sir.
Very
Yeah.
cool. Yeah,
big
your
That
time.
is
neighbors.
so cool, man. That is
Yes.
so cool. Yeah, we're neighbors.
Yep. Yeah.
Very
Hence
nice.
the Terminator. Yeah.
Yeah. What's it called? What was I gonna say? 2006 World Cup is also the first. So Rishi started following United first in 2004, and that was we used to live in Bahrain, which is a country in the Middle East, and we had this newspaper called Gulf Daily News (GDN), right,
Yeah.
Rishi? And GDN used to give us like the sports highlights and stuff. And one of the highlights was like the Premier League. They used to cover the Premier League a lot. And Rishi would see like news stories of Van Nistelrooy scoring hat tricks like week in week out and stuff like that. That's how he first got into it, and then we started watching it on TV a little bit, etc. But for me, because I was 10 years old back then in 1994, right? Barely knew what was going on. I didn't even watch cricket that much, even though we had crazy cricket fandom in the household because of our dad. After that, the 2006 World Cup, we had this poster. Rishi, do you remember this poster of the fixtures that we
Yeah.
had in our room?
Yeah. I
So
used to
we
fill it in
obviously shared a room.
diligently. Yeah.
Yeah, and we used to update it like it was like a fixture list basically of like the group stages and then what the round of 16 and all
We
that
got
would
that
look
from
like.
GDN too, Gulf Daily News. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was this massive poster that we had like up on one of our like whatever wardrobes, and I remember that World Cup so vividly, and they'd done some great marketing for that World Cup as well, like the one that happened in Germany. So that was
Yeah.
also around the time that I really remember being like, wow, this is exciting, like lots of stuff is happening here. Do you mind me asking, Berminator, how old you are?
I am 27-year-old. Yeah, I grew up in California most of my life, but yeah, I moved around Kentucky like
27. So you would have been quite young in 2006.
8 or
like
something.
8 years old?
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. That's awesome. And what's your name? Do you want us to call you Berminator?
David is good.
David. Awesome, man. Nice to see David, guys. Show some love to David in the chat. We got 80 people watching, so I want to see some more likes here. For first-time caller.
I got a question for you.
Go for it.
It sounds like a lot of times when we talk about the Casemiro replacement, right? The profile and sort of the legs that we're talking about, except for maybe the aerial threat, it sounds like Ugarte meets a lot of these requirements. And I think if Ugarte was still in PSG or Sporting, I think he would have been like we would have been drooling all over for him, right? To be our Casemiro sort of handoff
Well,
replacement.
why are we talking in ifs? We did drool over Ugarte when he was at Sporting and
Absolutely.
when he was at PSG, right? Because when we purchased him, we thought he was going to be, one like a midfielder that can grow into the league. And this is a good point you bring up because we talk a lot about is this guy going to suit the Premier League, right? And Ugarte, from a physical perspective, suits the Premier League very well. And in fact, I would even say in a worse team, if he was playing for Wolves, he would he might even look like Joao Gomez,
Right.
right? And so that's the concern I have in terms of getting someone like Joao Gomez in
Mhm.
because I want to get away from the players that are just energy and winning the ball back and are not good enough on the ball. Now, I don't know enough about Joao Gomez. I haven't spent I haven't watched every single game of Wolves, so a Wolves fan would be better at telling you this. But that would be my only concern. So I do agree Ugarte does have some of the characteristics, but his on the ball ability is just atrocious, right? I think the thing that people don't appreciate about Casemiro enough is how good he is on the ball. They just think of him as like, oh, he used to just give the ball to Modric and Kroos and let them run the game, and he was just a guy in midfield, right? Whereas actually, he's excellent on the ball.
Yeah.
He has the patience on the ball. He can hold on to it when it's needed. He can pass it when it's needed. He has a good long pass as well, right? In terms of switching the play, playing it in behind. So these are the characteristics that Ugarte sorely lacks. In fact, he's so bad at it that he actually makes us worse
I think in
by being in
the
the team.
Premier League games, like since he joined the Premier League, his stats look worse. But if you look at his PSG stats, like he was pretty good. Like even his long ball accuracy and everything is pretty good. I don't know like how far these like long balls were happening, and I didn't follow him that closely in PSG, but it wasn't atrocious neither in PSG.
But the problem is that first of all, it's Ligue 1, right? A lot of teams don't play against PSG the same way that teams will play against us.
Right.
And the second thing is, why did they let him go, right? If he was good on the ball.
Yeah.
Because they looked at Joao Neves, Vitinha, Fabian Ruiz. Actually, you could argue that the makeup of their midfield is too similar.
Hmm.
The three players that I just named are very similar, whereas Ugarte is the only sort of different profile of player. And in that team, Ugarte would actually work better than he does in our team because they have so many ball dominant players. They play in a three-man midfield that Ugarte could be, you could excuse his on the ball skills just because of how much he gives you defensively. But still, they decided to let him go. And that tells me we probably should have been smarter about that, but it is what it is. Ernest, how you doing, man? Is it working now?
Is it working now?
Yes, yeah. Your mic is
Good.
better than mine now. You're
Good.
really you guys can hear him?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Okay, perfect. Yes, yes. Go on,
Yeah.
Ernest.
Good.
I remember you now.
Oh,
You've called in once before.
yes. Yes, I did. Yeah.
Go
And we
on,
had a
tell
good
us.
conversation.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. How you feeling? How you feeling about the team right now?
Ah, you know what? In as much as a lot of people out there, especially our fan base, for some reason they say they don't see improvement or they don't see anything change. Um, I find it fascinating because yes, there are improvements, but there's a lot of things to be done. And one thing that I think would make us look better, even without better players, is the basic things. Us doing the little things right. For example, passing the ball right, not overhitting the ball, um, playing with much intensity. I think personally, if all the matches we've lost, if we can just do that, I think we would have won those matches. So I think even without, yes, the manager hasn't gotten all the tactics down, all the players, but I think with just giving that consistent performance, in terms of passing right, choosing the right pass, making the right decision at the final third, intensity, winning first balls, going into challenges, your duels, I think we would be in a much better place compared to where we are right now and how people see it. That's my take on it. And there is a lot of things to be done. And one of the things that I don't know, I don't have the answer for it. I don't think even Amorim has the answer for it. Is how how the only thing we are good at is being
Yeah,
consistently. And
Cons-
the thing is, when we are inconsistent, there is no in between. It's either we are very bad or we are very good. There is no, in between. For example, Everton game. I I still don't understand how we are that bad.
We're not
Brentford game as well.
consistently mediocre.
Still don't understand how we are that bad. All the matches that we've lost, except for the Arsenal game. But this season, all of them, there was no middle ground that, or maybe for the first half we played a good football or we played nothing. That's the problem. So I don't know how. I think if Amorim can solve that, we'll be in a better position.
yeah. I think I'll just give my 2 cents on it, Ernest, because first of all, I appreciate the passion with which you have just communicated, because I feel like that is the bare minimum of what us fans expect, right? Because you see Casemiro, forget about the money he's making, right? That's between him and the club. None of us are paying that money. But his experience, he has 5 Champions Leagues. He's played for Real Madrid. If you guys watched my Xerxes video, he had a straight
Yeah.
pass to Mason Mount and he passes it to the freaking, other player.
So-
Like how that's not excusable for someone like Casemiro, right? I can understand that from someone like Dorgu, right? Because he's 21. He even when he was coming through the academy, like he's a Nigerian background, grew up with immigrant parents in Denmark. He wasn't a big star in the academy like many of our players are. Even in Mbumo, he wasn't a big star in his academy when he was coming up, right? So these players, they work very hard to even get to the position they are now. And so he's coming to the Premier League. He's only spent a year here. I understand if he's making the wrong pass, but Casemiro, I have no excuses. So to your point, if you look at the game against Crystal Palace, we were consistently inconsistent even within the same game, right?
Yeah.
First half inconsistent, second half we were good. So what we need to, and the reason for that for me is down to 2 specific positions. For me, the central midfield, the left wing back, and the left 10. I guess those 3 positions you could say are the ones that have been inconsistent this season. Because sometimes you will have Casemiro and Bruno playing a great game, but then you'll have Dorgu playing a really bad game, or Dallo playing a really bad game, or Cunha is not doing the defensive work that Amram wants him to do, or something like that, right? And that's the problem. And sometimes you'll have Ahmad playing in the left 10, and he's never played that position before, and he looks bad, right? So the problem is we have 10 outfield players. 7 of them might be having a 7 out of 10, and then 3 of them are having a 4 out of 10. And so the whole team looks like a 5 out of 10. Right. And that's the reason why we are consistently inconsistent. It's like some weeks you'll actually be like, yo, last week, Casemiro will come out and play an amazing game the next game we play. And he'll say, you told me I was bad last week. I was good this week. Why did we still lose? Well, it's because now it's somebody else's turn to stink up the place, just like you did. Right. And that's the problem. But Alex, welcome to the show. Your thoughts on what Ernest has said.
Hi, guys. Yeah, completely agree with what Ernest has said. I think the one buzzword we hear a lot at the moment, as far as United is concerned, is intensity. You seem to hear it on. You guys have said it a lot, and I completely agree with it. By the way, intensity. Sometimes you can see that the players turn up and they put the hard work in, and they start a game properly. Like for example, at Anfield, you could see and feel it, and then there are other days where they haven't, right from the start. Take the Everton game at Old Trafford as a good example. So for me, I think that's what it is. Like, it's being able to say to whoever's in the starting 11, that intensity has to be there from minute 1, and it has to go for as long as you can go. And you've got to kind of get it into your heads as players that you need to run yourselves into the ground. And I think that's that. I've been a United fan for decades. My background, for people who don't know who I am, I've had family who've had season tickets at Old Trafford, dating back to like the mid '80s, and I haven't got any family who have season tickets now. I don't go as often as I used to. I went a lot during the '90s and the noughties and the 10s, and was lucky to see, the Ferguson era firsthand. But I would say that those kind of problems never existed back then because the team was just expected to have that intensity. And I'm not saying it didn't exist at all. There were one or two occasions where it went wrong, but usually when it did, there was a reaction.
I'm gonna move Ayush to the bottom here because you guys are the lucky ones in the bottom, all three UK folks who can actually go watch United. Whereas I've only been to the stadium once. I've had the museum tour. I purchased the. I have a ball here in the back. Actually, let me go grab it. Hold on, 1 second. This is important to the story. I promise.
Good to meet you guys. Whilst he's grabbing the ball.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at that. I have a
wow.
signed ball from all the
Awesome.
players.
Nice.
And this is something that I cherish. I also have a keychain that I gave to Rishi as well. We have Bruno Fernandes keychains. Because let's be honest, the only player other than De Gea who I would probably do that for, in terms of the recent history, right? Like playing for the badge. But Alex, I totally hear you, man. I think its intensity is turning up. When I spoke to Tony O'Neill as well on the channel, right? I had a conversation with him. He's been supporting the club since the late 60s. And he said, it doesn't matter if we win or lose. It doesn't matter if we get relegated. It doesn't matter if we win the league. All we want to see is something we can be proud of as fans on the
He's
pitch,
absolutely
right? Yeah. And
He's
that's
absolutely right.
that's all we're looking for.
He's right. He's right. And also, I think, for the fans who maybe didn't see Tony's era or the Doherty era in the 70s, I didn't see that. And I don't really remember the Ron Atkinson era or the Ferguson era before 1990. But the one thing that's consistent is this football club as a club has always been about working hard. It was founded by railway workers, who worked hard, and working class people. So I think sometimes I look at professional footballers now generally and think sometimes you don't get that, like you don't understand that. And I think Ruben Amorim understands that, and I think some of the coaches who followed Ferguson understand that too. But for
Alex,
me, it's about the players understanding it now. Sorry, you go.
I'll add to that, Alex. I think this is something that's missing from the academy as well. That players have not been brought up with that culture that you have to work hard, you have to craft, you have to be better than all others to be selected in the first team and stay there. And that's why we see people who come up and they think that since they've been there since since they were pre-teens, they are entitled to that spot in the first team. And that has been exacerbated by the kind of signings we've made. I think Paul Pogba, for all his qualities, he didn't bring any virtue in terms of like building the culture of the club. Any player like Jesse Lingard, or who else am I forgetting? There were so
Actually,
many of them.
Lingard, to be fair, off the pitch, other than his dancing stuff, right, was somebody that was one of the best trainers that we had in the club, right? Is from everything I can hear. And even Pogba, for that matter, he was a clean living professional. Like if you get away from his TikTok stuff, he was devout Muslim, doesn't drink, right? You didn't hear anything. He's a family man, got kids and all that.
I'm not saying about clean living professional, but in the sense that having that mentality that you have to function as one unit, and you have to function, you have to keep grafting until you achieve that success.
Yeah.
And it's at some point I felt that people had diverted into like individual achievements and probably just counting their stats. Like Garnacho has been accused sometimes that maybe he's just taking shots so that he has his stat numbers up, and that gets him into discussions with other teams.
Abhishek is lobbying
And
for a
so
visa for you. He says he should keep him.
You've hit a really important point. I'd say that, yeah, it's difficult because I think academy players who are coming through now, or academy players who've come through in the last 3, maybe 4 years, they're coming through into an environment that's very different to, let's say, class of 92 or even Pogba, right, when he came through.
Yeah.
Because I can't remember too much of the story with Pogba, but what I do remember is Scholes came back out of retirement, and then
Yeah,
that was
2013.
around the time Ferguson was about to blood Pogba, and then it didn't happen, and Pogba didn't sign a new contract, and then Pogba went. And for me, I look at it and think, obviously, you don't want the same thing to happen to JJ right now, who's kind of tearing it up
Yeah.
under 18s. But at the same time, I think what you hit the nail on the head that there have been quite a few academy graduates who come through in the last 3 years who thought they've got into the first team, played quite a few games, started scoring a few goals, started contributing or playing regularly and thinking they've made it. But the reality is that this club, and I think as a fan base, we all still think this, even if you've not seen the success from Ferguson era or previous era, the fans will define success as silverware. And I'm not just talking like Lingard or Pogba winning an FA Cup. We're talking league titles.
Yeah.
So
PL title or Champions League.
Any academy player can say, I've made it, if you're wearing a United shirt.
Yeah.
Also, I feel like
Well,
the youth
okay.
players get a lot. Sorry, Ernest, just 1 second. I feel like the youth players get a lot of self-importance with the social media stuff because of the social media era, right? Like Garnacho, like after every game, like once we win a game, within 3 minutes or 5 minutes, there's a post from every single player.
Yeah.
Even Bruno does it, even Casemiro does it, right? Every single player does it. And I get it. The dopamine hit must be amazing, right? You just played a 90-minute game away at Palace and just beat them. And there's so much made in the media about this team, and we've gone and done the job. And you're sitting there like, getting ready to go take a shower, just do a quick post and been like, big win for us, 3 points, whatever. And they get like 1 million, 2 million subscribers or followers or whatever. And they think they've made it, right? Because everyone is so complimentary of them. Like, you're the best, bro. You're the next, CR7. You're the next Messi, blah, blah, blah. And that's plain and simple what's happened to Garnacho. And I know his brother's a little bit of a insert expletive here as well. So that never helped him. And in my opinion, I think that's the direction I'm seeing JJ Gabriel go in. And that's the concern that I have because, the people in his ear are apparently telling him, you should go to Barcelona, you should go to Real Madrid, right? And they start to think they're bigger than the club just because United hasn't won a PL title in the last 10 years or something. Because it's not that these players don't exist at Man City. They just know their place. They know that they can't speak up like that. And if they do, they'll be shepherded out. Whereas here, those same players come here. Because what did Jadon Sancho do? He went from City to Dortmund, and then he came to United, and he started acting like he owned the place, right? And that's the concern. But Ernest, sorry, you were saying.
There is sorry, Ernest.
Okay. Then.
Just
Yeah.
to,
Then
just
go ahead.
to,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
actually, you've been waiting for some time, so please go ahead.
Okay. No. So to add on to what Alex, Yusha and you said, I think I am yes the academy players the entitlement and everything like that, but so the way I look at it as well, it stems from the first team players, cause and people don't like to say it, but I always say it. The moment Sir Alex left the club, that was the end of the club, and I think even before he left, I think he was the straw that kept everything together. So what happened after he left? I don't know where it went wrong, but that culture, that privilege that, okay, I am playing for Manchester United, even to the first team players, it became maybe because of the owners, how they were, the Woodward, whatever they were promoting at that time, it became more like for their own self advertisement. They didn't think about the club that way. So it was more about themselves. So even the first team players, it wasn't a privilege for them. It was okay, I come to United, I get paid big money, sell, make deals, sell. So even them. So if I'm an academy player and the first team player doesn't see it as a privilege, doesn't see it as being worthy of playing for United, I am not going to be the first to come out and do something different. So I think that's one of the things that has affected United as a whole. From the first team players, you see them not behaving right. There is no way the academy players would behave right. And with JJ Gabriel, what you are saying, and I think this is one of the reasons why um, I'm behind Amorim so much, Because one of the interview that he did, I think was it with Stan Sports or the Zone, when he said what when they asked him what he's looking for in the academy players, firstly it has to be a privilege. You have to know that it's a privilege to play there. And with JJ Gabriel, he's a talent. I've seen videos and the way people are talking about him, but I think if he doesn't do the right thing, he won't get that spot. And I'm happy about it. So that's my take. I think that thing didn't just come from the academy players. I think it came from the first team players over the years. What they've been doing, the way they've been seeing the club. That you can blame maybe the owners, the management, whatever was there, but they made it that way, and so everyone else is doing it. New players, old players, everyone is doing it, and that is one of the reasons why the club is where it is right now, and that is one of the reasons why sometimes when people talk about United, I said, I think you really underestimate the work that needs to be done in United. I think it's much, much bigger than, you know, the way people are seeing it. And sometimes it doesn't take, you won't see the immediate effects of what they are doing. But as I say, from Ferguson, what we are going on 10, 15 years now, we haven't won a league. And sometimes, oh, we are in the Champions League. Yes, you went to the Champions League, but that same season, your league position, we might have finished 6, 7. The
Yeah.
next season you don't go to the Champions League, but you finish second, third, and people, oh, but during those times you are not bad. But that's not United way. That's not the way. For me, that's not the United I grew to love and support. That's not the way. The United way, even what's it called? During internal time, we didn't finish 15. Yes, we won an FA Cup, finish it. If we didn't win the FA Cup, I'm pretty sure we don't have had any Europe. But people like they see all of that, and I'm saying that's not the way. That's not the United way. We are bigger than that.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Ernest, you
so
make a good point. We're not here to scrape by. We're not here to just make it into Europe and things like that. We need to build something, right? And that's why I keep saying, with Amram, have we taken two steps back in terms of where we finished last season and how we're kind of struggling to keep up? Yes, we have, but those two steps back will take us 4 steps forward, right? Whereas with Ten Hag, he took one step back to take us half a step forward, right? Because he started playing defensive football, he abandoned his philosophy right away, and that's what
And
got
then
us
fell
third.
flat on his face.
Yeah, yeah. I want to hear from Berminator and Rishi. Rishi, maybe if you want to quickly jump in and then give it over to Berminator, please.
So everyone's made some excellent points, and like Ernest said, that even towards the end of Sir Alex's reign, we had started seeing that players were not really looking at the prestige of a club they wanted to join. They were just looking at the money. Because I remember Roy Keane in his autobiography, or Sir Alex in his autobiography, said that Roy Keane was offered more money at Blackburn by Kenny Dalglish, and when Sir Alex approached him, he took like I think he was making 10. He was offered like 10% less, and finally with negotiation, like he was eventually making less money at United than he would have made at Blackburn. But he wanted to play for United, right? That was the prestige because he grew up hearing how great this club was. So he wanted to play for us. Whereas, if you see in the early 2010s, when we went for a player like David Silva, we couldn't afford him because City made a better wage offer to him, right? So he went to City. Same with a player like Aguero. Aguero, I guess his transfer fee was a little too much for us to afford at the time. But I'm pretty sure that they made a good enough financial offer to him. So Aguero went there. He was a player that we were very keen on. So this wave of the player looking out for himself and looking at what is the best I can do for myself had started right there from the early 2010s. And I think it was really City that came in that really brought that wave because Robinho came to Manchester expecting to join United and then he learns he's actually going to City, right?
Yeah.
But he stays there because he got the bag. And then from there on, you see, we are talking about JJ Gabriel today. There is a prime example right in front of our very eyes. Xavi Simons, when he was at Barcelona, 15-year-old in the academy in La Masia, he already had 1.5 million followers on Instagram.
Yeah.
And he was 16 when he was offered a contract by Barcelona. He refused the contract and he went and joined PSG, right? He went from one club to another where there were fewer opportunities for him. And in fact, it was a different playing style. Of course, Barcelona is the more prestigious club, but PSG made a better offer because PSG also at that time wanted to attract these these young names that were high profile at the time. Spent 3 or 4 years at PSG, went to the Dutch league. I think he
Leipzig.
was at PSV,
Oh, yeah, it was
right?
PSV first, then Leipzig. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Leipzig, and then now he's at Tottenham. And I think it is safe to say that that player is not going to amount to anything in the Premier League. He's 22 or 23 years old now. I don't see him making it here. He's very slow for the league. He is not technically good enough, and he's probably going to end up going on league to Germany again, and probably wind up the rest of his career in one of these other clubs that are just outside the Champions League spots.
Also, what not
So,
enough people talk about, Rishi, is Xavi Simons' father was also a professional footballer, right? Also a very young guy. Like the age gap between him and his dad isn't that big, from what I've seen. And
okay.
actually, this might be a way too early shout, and I don't know too much about him, but I'm worried about the same thing happening to Lamine Yamal because his dad seems to be like not the best influence for him off the pitch. Let me just put it that way. I don't want to get into details with that, but that
Not
also
just the
seems
dad, Andy. I saw recently
Correct.
some YouTube creator had put out that Lamine Yamal's mom is hosting dinners for the chance to meet Lamine Yamal's mom, and for $800 a plate, you get to click a picture with her. Like, what's going on around a footballer's, a youngster's family? If your family is just, hell bent on making a bag on your name, what are the kind of influences you're having at home?
this is
Like,
this is a
we have to
great
remember, he's
shout.
just a kid.
Anybody that watches basketball, by the way, this is a great shout because Ja Morant and T Morant are like Ja Morant is the basketball player, insane talent, one of the most explosive players you'll have ever seen. And Berminator will probably know more about the basketball shouts here. And he, Ja had some stuff with the gun celebrations. He pulled a gun out on a bunch of people and all that, and crazy things like that. And Lamine Yamal also seems like that. So with JJ Gabriel, I also feel like his dad was like a professional center back as well. He played for Arsenal
Yeah.
and a bunch of other teams in England
He
as well
played
for
like
Watford.
Irish League or maybe like Isthmian League, that
Yeah,
sort of a
yeah.
thing. Like,
But
yeah.
let's invite Berminator into the discussion. You've been very patient, my friend. Please give
Yeah,
us your thoughts.
Rishi, I never thought that Rubinho joining Man City was completely wiped out of my memory until you brought it up again. But
Yeah.
it's crazy. Yeah.
I think it's wiped out of his memory as well. He's watching right now,
Yeah.
crying about what
Yeah.
happened.
But everything that Ernest said towards the end, about our standards dropping tremendously, oh my goodness, that was what I was thinking just the other day. You know what was synonymous with fourth back in my day, like growing up? It was Arsenal. They finished fourth after fourth after. That's not good
Yeah.
enough for us. I mean, we'll take it this season, but I don't want to see any post, any celebrity like celebration from finishing fourth. That's Arsenal's position, like we need to be finishing first and maybe second every 3 years. But we want to finish back to back first place. That should be our standard. That's
Yeah.
when you can post stuff and have any celebration. And fourth is like forget about 15th. Like fourth is not good enough. I don't want any of our players, any staff member having that like mentality that okay, fourth, okay, it's making up that gap, but we can't stop at fourth.
Yeah, absolutely.
I
David.
I would say just about that mentality, like fourth is not good enough. I would say that perhaps we need to keep this in perspective that we are not going to get to the top at like within a couple of seasons, or right away we make a few changes and things are going to change. I think in this situation, it's very important for the management, like the sporting director, for the coach, the for Amaring, for Wilcox, for these people to keep the bigger picture in mind with smaller goals in front of the players. And top four, definitely, I would not say that any, because we've achieved top four at least three times in the past 10 years, right? under Mourinho and twice under Ole. Ole, in fact, two full season, both he
Oh,
ended top
Right.
second and third, and we still fired him
yeah.
because we saw that there's no room for growth and
The
getting into the
football
first.
wasn't good enough. So I know Nelson is
Yeah,
watching. Hold on one second. Nelson's watching, right? Nelson, you're saying this squad is good enough to get top four under a different style of football. I'll tell you this. I think if Ollie was here with this squad and he was playing his style of football, we could definitely finish higher than where you think Amram's going to finish with the squad. But
yeah,
what would that do for us in future seasons? Because we would essentially be doing, we would have the ceiling of Nuno. Our ceiling would be Nuno's ceiling because Nuno is
yeah,
essentially what Ollie was doing, right? And so, what was Nuno's ceiling? He looked like he was going to finish in Champions League, finish seventh, and dude, you're talking about maintaining standards. Freaking the Forest owner sacked him because he was like, "That's not good enough for me. I want to play expensive football." And at United, we need to have bigger expectations. So again, this is not for me to shit on Ollie. I think he did the best that he could given what he had at the time because even the squad profile was very counterattacking. But now Amram has come here and his ceiling is winning the Premier League, winning 2 Premier Leagues, 3 Premier Leagues. And we need to give him time to implement that system. That's why
yeah,
I'm okay with us not finishing top four this year. If that means in the future we can do what Berminator said, what Ernest said, what everybody here is saying.
yeah.
And
And
if you'll
and
allow
I
me a
would
second, if you'll allow me a second, I will
yeah,
actually shit on Oli in a nice way. But what I want to say is, you see how Cunha and Mbumo, these two players who could have gone to any club, right, in the Champions League, in this league, uh,
mm,
they didn't go there. They came to United. And I'm damn sure that the coach and the conversations they had with the coach had a huge role to play in where they were going, his vision for the club, his game style, and how he saw them fitting into his plans, right? With Ollie, there was not a single player that we got that wanted to come here because of Ollie. They all came because they had nowhere else to go and because the club
yeah,
paid a stupid price. All these big names that you see, I can count all the big transfers. Maguire, 80 million, right? We paid him 200 grand a week. No one else was going to pay him that. City bowed out at 60 million. You look at Bruno in the summer that we signed him, the summer before that, Tottenham were in for him, but they didn't pay the price Sporting asked for. Even in the January, Tottenham wanted to sign him, and Bruno said, "Okay, I will come, but I'm waiting for United."
yeah,
Right? And of course, there's no real comparison between Spurs and United. You're obviously going to pick United, right? After that,
mm,
Jadon Sancho, he was a 120 million player the season before, and in the season we got him, he was a 73 million pound player, and no one was in for Jadon Sancho, right? Again, a player, Varane, 28, Real Madrid wanted to get rid of him because he was injury prone. No one else wanted him, right? So Varane came to
mm,
us. Ronaldo, again, Juventus could not afford his wages. He had nowhere else to go. He was willing to sign City. But then, of course, he knows it's not good for his brand if he betrays United. So in the end, things happened, things materialized. Woodward pulled something out of
Also,
his bag,
also,
and Ronaldo
also
became a United
Woodward.
player.
Also, United went back into the same thing, right? Because we wanted to sign a star. They wanted the
Yeah,
positive bump of getting Ronaldo
mm.
back. So there was no way
yeah,
they were going to pay whatever Ronaldo was asking for, essentially, to get him back.
yeah, yeah.
I think
And
all
it
of this,
worked, dude,
all of
because,
this,
yeah,
all of
go
this
on, Ayush.
distills down, all of this distills down from the management's like opinion of what the club is meant for. For Ed Woodward and co, or anyone who's come after that, I think the management's sole focus was how much money can we make out of this cash cow, and what are the different ways of making money, when the sole focus should have been how good our performance can be on the pitch, which will automatically enable us to explore different avenues for making like generating revenue, because the core of any football club is always to play good football. Everything else is dependent on that. And if your team is not performing well, you may have a few hardcore supporters who will never leave, but beyond that, the fan base will wither away with time. And that's what they did not realize. Secondly, I would also say about the fan base is that anything apart from complete absolute domination that we had in the late 90s, early 2000s, because we've had a taste for it, we are not going to be satisfied with one title in 5 years like Liverpool has won, or two titles now. Okay. So it's completely illogical to think in terms of like if the management is thinking only about what shirt sales we can get with this marquee signing, then that's not going to help the team in the long run. And we have seen that we've seen how it has, even the people who we would have thought of getting shirt sales for, even if we offered them big money, they didn't want to come if they had any love for their own career. So with the evolution of time, it is obvious that as we move forward, we always have to focus on people who may or may not be the best in the world. Obviously, we cannot go for very low quality, but who bring that culture with them, that it has to be for the team, it has to be for success on the pitch, whether it's players who we are signing, or it's management personnel, coaches. Everyone has to be on that singular focus, that it has to that football is the main focus of this club, and from that we may generate whatever else we can
Can I
generate.
just say Ayush was also the same person who said, "What would I say if I came on camera?" And then he goes
Now
on for
is
an hour and speaks sense. So never
I'm
doubt
just
yourself
venting,
again, man.
guys. I'm just venting.
That's all we do. What do you think I'm doing here, bro? Every day. Anyways, I think someone asked about Ralph Ranick, right? Me and Rishi, we had just started this channel back when Ralph Ranick had first joined. Was it in the January or something like that, or no, it was late, like
It was
November
in
or something.
November 2021.
Yeah, November 2021. And the channel, if you go check the about section on the channel was started in October 2021, right? So this was the very beginnings where we got like 10 views for a video and we'd be excited, right? That somebody actually had something to listen and say about
I
what
don't
we had
think
to
we
say.
even got a comment in those times. Not even
We
a
got
single
one
comment.
comment. I remember us
We got one.
spending a
Yeah.
full day talking about one comment that we got because we were so excited. And so I remember talking about Ralph Ranick back then, and we were so excited because of what he had done in terms of club building, culture building, structure building for the RB group, right? With RB Leipzig, the stuff he had done both as a coach and then going into management, and that's what we thought he should have done here too. But he essentially came in, and the club decided they wanted to go with Ten Hag, and they were willing to bend over backwards for Ten Hag and give him the clauses in the contract that say he has the veto on the transfers and all that, right? And Ten Hag in so many ways hampered our growth, right? I used to think it was Ollie where our culture suffered a lot, and it did because players like Rashford and everybody, got the armor on the shoulder and they started thinking that they were bigger than the club in many ways. But I think the damage that Ten Hag has done in so many different ways just really screwed us over, because he came in and he said, because I have this transfer veto, get Ralph Rangnick out. Because initially he was supposed to transition into a director of football type of role, and he had said open heart surgery. He was the one who suggested we get Caicedo, Enzo Fernandez, all of these guys, right? He was at
Julian
Independiente.
Alvarez.
Julian Alvarez as well. We could have got all three of these guys for 30 million. Can you imagine that? All three of those guys playing for United for around 30 million. And, Fernandez, Caicedo would have been our midfield instead of Chelsea spending 250 million or whatever they spent on them. And so for me, yes, Ralph Ranick, not keeping him at the club, not giving him the tools that he would have needed to fix this club, open heart surgery, was a big miss. And guess what Ineos have done after coming back with all of their long reviews at the club? They're doing the same thing. They want to do open heart surgery. They want to get the clean living professionals. They want to get the grafters. And one thing Ayush said that I really want to stress on, if you look at the Tottenham team right now, they have gone and got a coach. He's not a bad coach, right? Thomas Frank is a good coach. They've gone and got a coach who has worked with grafters his whole life. He brought Brentford in from the Championship to the Premier League. He nurtured Mbumo, who comes from a town of 5,000 people in France or something like that. Very, very small, humble guy, right? Small, humble beginnings. Yeah. And he knows how to graft. Johan Wissa knows how to graft. All of their players know how to graft, and they don't have this big ego about them. You have taken Thomas Frank from a Brentford situation and given him flair players like Xavi Simons, who had 2 million followers when he was 15 or 16, right? Mm-hmm. So how's that going to work? That's a recipe for disaster. So at our club, I want to see more people. Mateus Cunha, humble beginnings, right? Brian and Bumo, humble beginnings. These guys who know how to graft, who've done the work. So I want to see us actually, if this could be a facet of our transfer strategy moving forward, is we go exclusively get the best players from like the middle of the table or the lower middle of the table, and players who have been sort of proven themselves over a couple of seasons, right? 2 seasons minimum, proved yourself and been the star of the show. Come to United as the next step and take us to the top. I think that's the recipe for us to be successful.
Andy, I've got a question then. Sorry to jump in. What's your view then on the current structure? Ayush, this is one for you too, because I completely agree with you on the issues of structure, but for me, I'm still looking at Ineos thinking one good summer transfer window, yeah, happy days, got most of what they wanted. Could argue it maybe could have been cheaper or done slightly quicker, but they got, generally speaking, who they wanted in. How confident are you that the same thing will happen again in January, firstly, but then more so the coming summer? That's kind of question number one. And going back to your point, Andy, about Spurs, just very quickly, they've lost Levy, and I know a lot of fans didn't like him. Like, you talk to a lot of Spurs fans, they really didn't like him, but from the outside, it looks like their structure above the coach at the moment is not what it was before. Whereas with United, it feels like the structure above Amorim is very different to the structure that was above Van Gaal, Mourinho, Oli, Rangnick, Ten Hag, and that I think is quite important. But yeah, I agree with you on the Premier League proven like mid-table player thing. Like, yeah, I want to see more from Cunha to kind of believe in it a bit more.
Absolutely, yeah.
But what's your view on the coming summer? I guess
I'll just quickly take the Spurs point for a second and then hand it off to the other guys because I've been speaking a lot. I'll say about the Spurs thing. Rishi and I just did the Stat Patters episode. Hi, let's say hello to Alex.
Alex setting the gold standard for parenting, raising his kid right.
You can also see
exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Good.
Yeah.
Nice. So what was I saying? Yeah. So with Spurs, I think we did the Stat Patters episode about the underrated ballers of the decade. I don't know how many of you guys saw it. There were 3 Spurs players in our list. Okay. So you're talking about the transfer signings. If you look at Spurs' transfers, they haven't been able to win anything, unfortunately. And for me, that has more to do with Pochettino bottling it because he had one of the teams of the decade, right? With Dele Alli, Harry Kane, Heung-min Son, all of them in their prime. Ericsson as well. Yeah, Dembele, and he wasn't able to win anything with that team. Let's not forget Kyle Walker, Danny Rose, Jan Vertonghen, Loris. Loris in his prime, right? So with that team, he wasn't able to win anything, and that was their misfortune. But if you look at their transfer profiling, they've gone for better center backs than us. They've gone for better midfielders than us. You could argue we've gone for more high-profile players, but not better players, right? So Levy does need to get, I don't know if it was Levy's decision or whoever was making it, they need to get their flowers. But for
they
me...
They had Damian Comoli and after him, Fabio Paratici. I think these 2 sporting directors played a big role. And Levy even, in fact, he executed this year's transfer window. So they've got good picks, right? They've got Kudus and they convinced him about their project. So he's a baller,
Sean makes
according
a good
to
point.
me.
Van de Ven as well. Great shout. I would love him at United. Like he's such a good player. Injuries are a problem, but still, on his day, he's just insane. And so, I want to go to Ayush for Alex's other question, which is how much do you believe in Ineos's ability to execute at the same level as they did in the previous summer?
See, with the decisions that they have made, with the communication, with the way that they are communicating about different aspects of the club. For example, Jim Ratcliffe coming out and saying that I would probably give Amorim 3 years, even though that's not something that he needs to say or he should say probably in terms of like thinking about what decisions he might have to make, the hard decisions he might have to make. He still put himself on the line there. And that shows to me at least that these are people who are sensible, who are committed towards the growth of the club, and they're probably not going to make a wrong decision. They might not make a right decision in the sense that the person they sign does not turn out to be what we really need. But I I have a feeling that they're probably not. They might not make any decision of signing anyone, but they won't make wrong decisions. They're not gonna do. They're not gonna make signings which we are gonna regret for 5 years because we've given them a contract and nobody wants them. So I am confident about that. Apart from that, the way that they have been upgrading their scouting, and they have been upgrading the data analytics team to analyze players better. They brought in Christopher Vivell, who has a reputation of scouting young talent from unknown places, and we are seeing that Orozco has joined, and he, the opinion of him, at least at Man United, is that he's going to be the next Caicedo. So we see the good things happening in the signings that they are making, and I think that that will carry on. Apart from that, whether they will get it right or not, that's obviously not possible to predict, but I have that confidence that they have a less likelihood of getting it wrong.
Yeah. First of all, let's say thank you to Alex, who had to put
And
his future United player to bed, and welcome. Let's welcome Kimario to the stream. Kimario, how you doing?
I'm not too
hi,
bad. Thanks for having
hi.
me.
We can barely hear you. If you could just
Can you hear me
increase.
now?
It sounds like the mic is coming from somewhere other than the one your mouthpiece.
Give me 1 second.
You're gonna
Yeah,
have to
just
bring the
check.
CCTV down a little bit.
But yeah, just check your mic settings and we should be good. And who just left? Oh,
It's,
Yeah, Burminator. Yeah,
uh,
Burminator. We have
uh,
Burminator leave. Yeah, okay. Till Mario gets that fixed. Ernest, do you have something to say?
yeah. Just to add on to what Ayush just said, because there is this group. I was talking to a United on some of my United fans, and I told them that based on how Ineos is moving, the new management, the structure, everything, I said I wouldn't be surprised that we won't sign any player in January. Not because I don't want to play, it's because based on what they've shown us, they are not going to sign a player just because, for example, let's say a midfielder, we all know we need a midfielder. They are not just going to sign a player just because we need that player. They are going to sign a player because he fits what they want to do. And they are not just going for a short-term fix as well. And that's something we've been doing over the years, trying to do quick fix there and there and then. And I said, I wouldn't be surprised that if they don't want have the money to get the players that they want, and two, if that player doesn't fit the culture, what they are looking for, as you are saying, clean living, a professional, someone that thinks, that believes that coming to Manchester United is a privilege, all of that, they are not going to sign that player. And so me, I believe that, as you said, um, I'm more confident that they would they will, maybe 9 out of 10 in their signings, they will get it right based on what I've seen, what they are doing, the type of players that you are looking for. And as we say, I didn't watch Sesko in Leipzig because, but Mbemo and Cunha, as you said, those are people that have grafted over the years, so they know what it means, and Shesko, by the way you see him playing, and running, the way Amorim talks about him, you can see that he's someone as well that will do the work. So 9 out of 10, or maybe 9 out of 10 will be a bit generous because with any transfer, it's a risk, but 8 out of 10, I think they will get it right. And I believe in their, in their signing and what they are going to do. And
Yeah.
also, there was something that when all of us have been talking about it, and I don't know, maybe some people might disagree with me. I said something as well. I said United haven't been a big club on the pitch, and I got some what's it called backlash from some of my fan base. The group I was talking about. I said, United haven't been a big club on the pitch in terms of history, pedigree, trophies, everything. Yes, we are a big club, but we haven't been a big club on the pitch for the
Yeah.
longest time. So these things
I would
that
agree with that. I don't think that's not a hot take. Like we finished 15th last year, bro. It's and we gave Tottenham, the most miserable club on this planet. We gave them their first trophy in 20 years. What more do you need to hear from us to say that we haven't been a big club on the pitch? We still are Man United in terms of the culture, in terms of the respect that we deserve. And I would also say we have some of the classiest fans in the world, right? Our fan base, in terms of everybody that goes to the stadium, our away fans, even the fans online, like we're not at the level of Arsenal fans. I was watching the overlap fan debate, and the Arsenal fan is like Declan Rice is on par
don't
for
say
Ballon
that.
d'Or.
Yeah, don't that
What
I
the
heard
hell?
that one. That and if I think was it
Definitely
even on
Declan
that,
Rice is on.
and I heard something today as well, and that just completely got me upset. And I said, please let any team win that league apart from Arsenal. Someone said it was on. I think on TikTok the video was there that Declan Rice is on the level of Paul Scholes. I said, or he's better than Paul Scholes. I said, nah, that you are just taking the piece now. How can
Yeah.
I, that it got me so upset? So that I'm like, this is why no one wants Arsenal to win anything.
Yeah.
Imagine thing, nothing, and they are telling me, oh, he's better. I said,
Yeah. Ernest,
honestly,
let's listen to what Kimario has to
But
say.
that's
Kimario.
that's what
it's
that's what
crazy.
Arsenal
Some of
fans are
the things
like, right?
that people have, and sometimes I wonder. I said, is it just because they like to banter, or they really didn't?
I think Ernest is lagging a little bit. We'll let Kimario talk. Kimario, go ahead.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yes, perfect.
Okay, much better. All right, so I'm probably gonna steer our conversation to a different direction a little bit.
Let's
Uh,
go. Let's go.
Um,
Tell us
I
where you're
want.
calling from first.
Oh,
Tell us
I'm
where you're calling
calling.
from.
Oh, I'm calling from Minnesota within the United States.
Very
Uh,
nice. Very
yeah.
nice. You're not too far away from me. I'm in Toronto.
Not too bad, man. Not too bad at all.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Go
I've
on.
been following you guys for a little bit. So like this was the first time I'm like, you know what, let me give it a shot and just kind of jump in and give some feedback or talk through a couple of things. So I
Sure.
think the one thing I was really wanting to talk about is our goals conceded. And like with us having 20 goals, is that like what I'm struggling with right now is our back line.
Hmm.
And like we're doing good, but we're not doing good because we're still conceding a huge volume of goals. And like even with this game coming up with West Ham, I'm like, I would not be surprised if Jarrett Bowen goes and scores a goal from a friggin' cutback. You know what I mean? Like there's just so many things in that. And so I guess what do you guys think about our defense? What do you guys think about why are we even after Lamens? Like when he came in and had that clean sheet against Sutherland, I was like, "Yo, we're ready," but we're still conceding goals. So, what are you guys' thoughts on that?
Kimario, you bring up an excellent point. I think you absolutely must consider joining the Discord group, the Discord community, because we have conversations like this all the time over there. Just today, we were talking about how United's expected goals against is actually seventh in the league, seventh best in the league. We are expected to concede 17 goals. And if you look at someone like Arsenal, they're expected to concede 9 goals. So Arsenal has had like 5 years to build up a really good squad and a really good defense.
Rishi, hold on,
Arteta has
hold on. Just
prioritized.
Rishi, 1 second. Just on that point, I think Arsenal is the wrong team to bring up right after United because it seems like there's a big gap between us. But
Yeah,
Arsenal is
but
on 9
City.
goals. 1 second. No,
Yeah,
Arsenal
talk
is
about
on
City.
9
Yeah.
goals. And the second best is Brentford at 15 expected goals against. And we're at 17, right? So we are only 2 expected goals away from the second best defense in the league, which is Brentford. Right. So that is the perspective you need to keep in mind, because we tend to get carried away with the negativity against our own club because we watch it all the time and we expect us to be a lot better. But we always need to realize, where are we compared to the rest of the competition, the rest of the pack? And in that sense, is what Rishi's point makes sense, is that Arsenal are so much better than the second best team because they have 50 defenders, and Arteta's had to, 6 years to build his team. Whereas in our case, considering how bad we are, and Delict can't make a single forward pass, right? Um, us being seventh in the expected goals against, just 2 goals behind the second best team, is a huge achievement. But Rishi, sorry, I just needed to get that perspective.
No, 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 no. It's an important perspective that you brought in, because I want to talk about City. If you think that City have had a pretty good season defensively, City is their expected goals against is 16.15, and ours is 16.99. So it's not even a goal between the two of
I'll
us.
just get it up on
Uh,
screen as well, Rishi, while you're talking.
yeah, yeah. And another thing to pay attention to is that City conceded 4 goals in the game against Fulham, right? I don't think we've had a single game where we've conceded 4 goals. Someone please correct me if I'm wrong.
It
As far
was
as I remember, worst
diabolical.
game was, sorry.
It was diabolical yesterday. Seeing the
Yeah, it
Fulham
was.
attack, carving them open so easily.
But also Fulham's XG was 1 and they scored 4 goals. City's XG
Yeah,
was 2 or 2.1 and they scored 5 goals. If you ignore that own goal that Sander Berger conceded, right, from Doku's shot, every goal was like a legitimate goal. Like even Reinders'
yeah,
goal was a very cool finish. It was a good build up and cool finish. Foden's was a trademark
yeah,
goal, cutting in from the right hand side, right, placing it in that corner. Everyone scored bangers. Chukweze's goal was so good. So this
Yeah.
was like one of those prime Barclays kind of a match, right? So you have to see that defensively we are conceding a lot of chances. It seems like it, but we are also underperforming our numbers. We should be conceding 17 goals at worst. We are conceding 3 more goals, right? And that extra goal could be like the goal we conceded to Arsenal, where on balance it should have been a nil-nil game on opening day, but we
Even Fulham,
conceded a stupid goal.
even Fulham.
Even Fulham, even Fulham was a goal where the midfielder Bruno forgot to track Smith Rowe. I always
Smith,
forget that dude's name. Today I remembered
Dallo,
it.
Dallo as
Smith
well.
Rowe.
Dallo allowed the
Yeah,
cross to come in, and Bruno also made the
yeah,
mistake.
yeah. So these are all the fine margins, and also Statman Dave. I keep going back to this video he made. He made a brilliant video. I think it was after the Sunderland game, where he analyzed all of the shots that we have faced, and in each of those situations, he tried to attribute.
Be
Right,
Cool
right.
makes a good
Yeah, Be
point.
Cool makes
City
a very good
conceded
point.
4
Yeah,
goals and got 3 points, and United conceded 3 and got 0 points. Right. It also
yeah.
depends on how and when you concede these goals. Because had we conceded 3 goals in against Brighton instead of 3 goals against City, we still win the Brighton game, and we probably get a draw at City, right? But it depends on what the game state is and all that. I think the conversation about our defense being really bad is probably a little bit overblown. It is bad in the sense that we have underperformed. So in that sense, it is bad. But from the system perspective, in terms of the chances we're conceding, it hasn't been that bad. And I want to give a huge shout out to our attacking players as well for making our defense better. Because Cunha and Mbumo, since they've started tracking back, and since Mount also came into the team, we have looked a lot better, because that's how this team functions, right? It's all about collective responsibility. So, Kamario, that was a very short question and a long answer from us. I want to hear more from you. How do you feel about what we said?
No, I mean, I think everything you guys said makes sounds fair, but at some point we get to the point where we say, okay, but what we're seeing on the pitch is actually our current reality. And I know we're supposed to balance out, but I didn't walk away from our game last week thinking, "Oh, we won." Like, I walked away from that game thinking, "Holy crap, we skated, so to speak, And the thought of us needing to have to convince our players in the second half that they need to have intensity, I don't know, that boggles my mind. But I know we've already kind of talked through that a little bit here. Um, I think that the other thing that I'm trying to like reconcile with right now is
Can I just say something quickly,
Mhm.
Kamario, to your first point? I think the thing you're saying is a lot more fair in two checkpoints for me. The first one is 19 games into the season. Once we have played all 19 teams, right? That gives us a very fair representation of where this team is at, and then we can say, listen, I don't care what the underlying stats say, we should be doing better, right?
Mhm.
In terms of what you're saying. And the second checkpoint is at the end of the season, because who cares if we underperform or overperform the numbers? The table is the table when 38 games are done, right? The
It's
underlying
funny.
numbers are important now because we can
Mhm.
project based on it what's going to happen. And when we were 10th or something after 3 games, when we had only won against Burnley after a 97th minute penalty, at that point, I was willing to come on and say we can probably still get top 4 or top 6 because we had good underlying numbers, we kept getting unlucky. So that's the context in which the underlying numbers make sense and
Mhm.
add value instead of just being numbers for numbers' sake. I just wanted to clarify that. Please go ahead.
Also,
No, no.
Kimario, if I can just really quickly add on to Andy's point, City's expected goals yesterday, they expected to concede 1 goal and they conceded 4. But before that, they were overperforming their goals expected against, right? They conceded 12 goals while they were expected to concede 15. So this underlying number metric, right, it always evens out. I've been following the XG metric for a long time. It always evens out. It goes to the extent that in case you overperform your XG for a couple of seasons or 3 seasons, by the fourth season, your XG numbers, your performance on the pitch, you underperform your XG numbers. So over a long scale, right, it kind of tends to even out. And like you said that the numbers are good but you're not able to see the performance, like Andy said, if you wait up to the 19th game, the reality will catch up, because even if you go back to the 22-23 season, when Arsenal looked like they were running away with the league at the halfway point, Arsenal had 50 points from 19 games, but the reality was on expected points City was doing better. But it seemed the narrative was that Arsenal are going to run away with this league. And what happened by the end of the season, right? In the other 19 games, Arsenal got only 34 points, and their performances matched up to the underlying numbers. Whereas City just kept performing as per their expected numbers, and they won the league, and they won the treble, in fact, that year.
It's interesting you said that because I think it was like a couple of weeks ago I went back and I kind of looked through I think it was Premier League stats all the way back to like when they had it like 2016, 2017, and it showed. So this is kind of where my mindset is at game 20 and game 38, you're pretty much lock in step as to like where you are in the league in game 20 and where you end. And I kind of went back and looking at, and there was minor deviations from it, but you were pretty much locked in. So in my mind, I'm like, in the next like 6 games, 7 games, like wherever we land there, that's pretty much we're gonna be one up or one down from there by game 20. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's even further. I made a video on this a few weeks ago, talking about what after game week 10, what can we tell for the rest of the league,
That's what
and there,
prompted me checking.
yeah,
Hmm.
there was an article written last year by somebody at the Athletic, where they essentially said game week 10 predicts 77% of the variance that comes after game week 10. So even as early as 10 games, you are able to tell based on underlying stats that more or less you're going to finish within one or two positions of where you are. Right. And that was the reason that I was looking at the stats. That's why the stats matter. And here's the more important thing: as fans, with the amount of data, social media conversations, we're a 45K channel having a 2-hour discussion about this club every single day, right? So the amount of research that goes into this thing, surely we have to believe that the leadership, the powers that be at United, are looking at the underlying numbers and not just looking at, oh, we won the game today, let's give Ruben a contract next year. We lost the game today, let's get rid of him, right? So if they are looking at these numbers, then why shouldn't we look at them to make up our mind about what's going on? That's the point that I'm trying to make, right? That's the thing that I try to always bring up in these videos, because It's not about being a stats merchant, right? It's
Mhm,
not
mhm.
about just bringing up stats for no reason. For me, I try to bring up stats in the most explainable way possible, right? I saw a stat on Twitter, by the way. I got to get this off my chest. I saw this stat on Twitter where Data MB, right? Data MB is this app that does pretty well on stats, and they have a Twitter page. They said Florian Wirtz has the most deep completions per 90, right? And somebody like all the Liverpool haters,
It
like I
even
am as
knows
well.
deep completions.
Exactly. What does it even mean? And it apparently it means any completed pass within 20 meters of the goal, right? And he leads the league for that matter. And I'm like, bro, if he could pass it into the net, I think that's all that matters, right? So in that sense, I hear you. The stats are bogus, right? It doesn't really make sense. Like if you just want to pull out a stat for some propaganda campaign to make, some
Yeah,
poor
that's what.
poor lad from Germany look better than he is, then that's fair. But when you look at chances created, when you look at XG, goals, assists, those are the ones that really matter, and I try to stick to those. Yeah,
I would also
Roberto
say
says deep.
about the. I would also say about the defense, like what Kimario was asking. I think there was a chat which I read earlier. Yeah, M Hadrami. I think that's how you pronounce your name is pronounced. This is the point which I was gonna make, that our midfield doesn't really give the defense options. Plus, it's also about a lot about confidence, because the the way that Amram wants the left center back and right center back to be aggressive, that's not really something that is very natural to center backs anywhere. And it so just to take an example, I was watching the Leon game a few days earlier, because let's just watch something that's good. And I saw that Euro was actually pushing up the field so much more than he has been doing in the past few games.
Yeah, he
And
was
in
in
the
the
past
final
few
third. He was
games,
in the final third, like
Yes.
yeah,
at the edge of the box.
yeah, and that showed that he had confidence then. He has made a few mistakes in the recent matches, and he's lost that confidence, and that's why it's sort of he's going into that spiral that he's not doing the right things because of that lack of confidence. So confidence also
Stanley, I
plays a
can see
part
you.
in how effectively the defense functions. And obviously, like what Hadrami said, the midfield obviously as protection to the defensive line. We are already one man short in the defense, even though people will say we play with five at the back. I say we play with three at the back. The other two are not so defensively focused. The wing backs, they're obviously more like wingers. So I would say that a combination of these two factors probably leads to the kind of stats that we're seeing with the kind of defensive performance that we're seeing with our team. And it could go away immediately. Maybe we could see that something clicks, and people start performing better. But I would say that these are some gaps that we still need to fill. Maybe
So
we need to upgrade our defense a little bit as well. I wouldn't want to say who we really need to focus on right
Diego
now,
Dallo put points when
but
you
yeah,
said wing backs, like the first thing, and then you reference defense. The first thing that came in my mind was Diego Dallo, especially after Amaram just talked about him today
yeah,
and his value. I I struggle with him. I struggle with him so
we all do,
much.
don't we?
And it's like I see the potential in Dogu, but then
Mm,
there are things that he just does not do. But Dallo,
yeah,
what I struggle with him is like his overall decision making sometimes. I don't know. I'm just curious because I'm looking at our games up to Bournemouth, and I'm just trying to think through like I know everyone says this should be an easy run. I don't think West Ham's going to be an easy run. I don't think Bournemouth's going to be an easy run. And like when you guys
We
were
didn't
talking
say that, Kamario.
when you
We
guys were
didn't say.
talking about the 7 points, I was sitting there and I was like, I'm not going to use the word I was thinking about, but I was like, they're so talking out of it. But now I'm just like, yeesh.
Yeah. Yep. You're welcome. You're
No,
welcome, Kimario.
one thing we have to understand is
But
many of the
but
players,
Kim,
when they're sorry, Rishi, just wanted to say
no, no,
this.
go on, go on, go
Right
on.
now, right now, the players have to make a conscious effort to do the things that they're doing on the pitch. And as they grow more accustomed, more used to it, as it becomes more second nature for them to do the activities that, like, if they're whether they should pass or they should hold, when it becomes second nature, when it moves to their, what's that Daniel Kahneman's book, that it moves to the system one thinking,
Yeah.
that's when you'll see
Thinking
this.
fast and
That's
slow.
when you'll
Thinking
see,
fast and slow is
yeah,
the book.
exactly. So when it moves to that natural, instinctive movement, that's when you'll see these stats improve, these performances improve. Until then, we have to accept that there will be bad performances like Everton, and there will be sudden, surprise wins which we probably would not expect. This up and down will continue, and that's why we have to stick with that same system, because that transfer over to that, natural instinct of all these activities that the system requires, that requires time. And it does, and if you keep changing anything, it, like, even if the players are moved around a lot, it won't help.
I agree with you
And
with the
okay.
Everton game. Sorry. The Everton game, when you use that as an example, like I struggle with that because I'm like,
Yeah, the players
there
switch
was
off,
I mean, like to me,
lose
there
focus.
was like, how do you go into that game as a player, no, and not provide full intensity, not pay attention, not switch off? Like every time I think of a player switch off, the one that
Yeah,
really like kicks me is, I don't know if you guys remember that goal that Tottenham scored years back. Like it was like in the first like 30 or 60 seconds where they just hit
Ericsson scored. Ericsson scored that
one
goal.
ball over the top, and it was just like,
Mm.
and so like I hear what you're saying, but I
Even
don't know.
the
I'm
Van de
so
Ven goal, even the Van de Ven goal when he
Yeah,
dribbled through
that's running.
the whole team and cut it back for Brennan Johnson, right? That was like, bro, like
Yeah,
someone just take him out, like 2 foot him, get a
yeah.
red card. I don't care. I don't want to see that, you know. But yeah, I hear you, Kimario. I
And
think so. It's just quickly, Ernest. I think it's a case of the players are still learning the system and they're not executing it well, right?
yeah,
And that's why we've seen the change in results hasn't happened because we signed new players in the middle of the season. It's happened because our
yeah,
existing players have become more and more comfortable with it. And that was Ayush's point, which is when it becomes like you're sleeping, eating, and breathing Amram football, that's when you can come onto the pitch and not have to think about what you're going to do. And I think the prime example of thinking what you're going to have to do is Dorgu and Dallo, right? They have to sit there. They take an extra second to think, and by that time, the chance is gone. So I hope that helps in a sense, Kamario. Oh, you're still muted though.
Oh yeah,
But
I was
guys,
saying, yeah, it does.
yeah, yeah. Are you Caribbean, by the way, by background?
Yeah, I'm from the Bahamas.
Nice, Nassau
Yeah.
or somewhere else.
So believe it or not, I'm from an island called Great Anagua, which is
Oh,
between, if you look in the map, it's between Cuba and the Turks and Caicos Islands, and it's north of Hispaniola. It's a little tiny island that looks
Great
like a
Inagua. Okay,
helicopter. Yeah.
nice.
We have a town of about 800 people. One town, huge
Wow.
island. But we also house pink flamingos is one of the things our islands are known for. We have one of the largest natural habitats of pink flamingos.
Dude, that is I'm looking at it on the map. That looks so far from the main Bahamas Islands.
It is. It's like the
but
country.
imagine the contrast between the Bahamas or the Caribbean in general, and then living in Minnesota, where
Yeah.
it's going to freeze for six
It,
months of the year.
it's snowing
Yeah.
right now. I don't want to talk about it.
It's snowing here too, so at least you and I are together in that boat. I'm in Toronto, so I think it's colder for you. I'm pretty sure it, like, overall you have a like colder climate.
Mhm.
But I do feel the winter here as well. We get lucky because of the Lake Ontario, right? That's what
Hmm.
keeps us a bit warmer. But dude, that's way out there. So you guys must experience like hurricane season and stuff as well, like quite often.
Yeah, I mean, the most recent hurricane that kind of went through, the
Yeah,
government had
Jamaica
to
and all. Yeah.
evacuate the people on my island to the to the capital, so they
The main
sent
islands.
planes down to like move them because the hurricane looked like it was gonna hit them. That's
Yeah.
how intense that hurricane was. Yeah,
Mm.
but
Guys, we've been live for 2 hours and 10 minutes. I want to go touch some grass or soil. There's no grass left. And
Absolutely. Maybe catch up on
maybe
some PL matches as well. Sorry.
yeah, absolutely. Go check out the games. Let's just do a quick
Andy,
wrap of the score. Hold on. Yeah, go ahead, Ernest.
yeah, I won't, maybe you might not, you might think it's just a quick to add on to what you guys have said. I think one of the things that we are failing to realize as well why we concede goals or why we are defending like that. I think United as a whole, the players as a whole, I think we cannot physically match the other Premier League teams. We we can physically match them to some point, and especially in the first half that we start playing well and do everything right and score. But you get to some point around the 60, 70 minutes. I think the loss in concentration, yes, it has to do with mentality, but I think also the physical aspect of it. Because I don't think United players can actually physically match any of these Premier League teams. When I mean go toe to toe, I think that's one of our biggest problems. That because sometimes the concentration they lose, you wonder how. Like some of the goals you be one unless you get and watch the match properly. That's when you pick out the errors and you are like, how did this happen? And I think one of it is because physically they cannot. So it gets to a point that their body just shuts down automatically without them not intentionally, but their body just shuts down because they cannot match up with the physical pace. And that's why maybe the likes of Cunha and Mbeumo, those are some of the players, even though you see that even to the last minute, they will still have that burst of energy there and there, to do a run and everything like that. And then the other thing that I was going to say, but maybe you guys can think about it later, is Nelson mentioned it yesterday about the formation. And you know what? Personally, I, I can argue against um, us playing any type of 4-2-3-1 or 4-3-3 or any type of 4-4 formation. One, because of the kind of players we have, and secondly, based on what I know about 4-4, any type of 4 formation, about especially the way the game is being played now. Firstly, you need natural wingers, and secondly, you need your fullbacks to be bossing. And the entire United, unless I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure we only have 2 natural wingers in Amada and Umbemo. Unless I'm wrong, I don't know if I might have
No, that's
mistaken,
probably
but I
right.
think
That's probably right.
those
Yeah,
are the yeah. And then, but as I said, it's just something I've been thinking about, and I've looked at. I said, do we really, if we want to play a four, do we really have the crop of players? Because even the fullbacks, if everyone is fit, I guess you might put Shaw. But would you be expecting Shaw to be doing what fullbacks do now, overlapping, inverting into the midfield, running back and forth? How long would he do it for? Can he sustain it? You get to the right hand side. We are talking about Dalo Mazarawi, final third. We are always
yeah.
complaining about them getting there. So it was just
No,
something
that's a good point. No, Ernest, that's a great point. And honestly, I think this is looks like Nelson wants to debate you. So if you're available for the next Footy fan debate, we finally
yeah,
have
yeah,
Nelson.
I'm
Okay.
available.
Okay, yeah, let's do it. Let's set it up for the next time.
yeah,
But honestly,
yeah,
guys, great conversation today. Ayush, first time on the channel. Ernest, second time on the channel. Kimario, first time on the channel. You've seen Rishi before, obviously.
yeah,
And yeah, just a great conversation, man. I like this community so much. I think we're so positive about this club. It's hard to imagine like 99% of the rest of the fan base is so negative about it all the time. At least the voices, the loud voices are negative. I think most of the fans
Yeah.
are relatively positive, but the loudest voices are negative. But hopefully we can change that, man. One video at a time. So I appreciate you guys so much, and I will see you guys next time. We'll be back here tomorrow at 1 p.m. We'll be talking mostly a preview, and we'll do a a sort of debate before the game goes live. And then we'll go into the watch along as well. We might have a post match call as well. So lots of time for
Sure.
me to be live tomorrow. Wish me luck. Wish my back some luck for sitting for that long. But hopefully we can get the win, man, and get some more positivity. 2 in a row. I'll go cut my
Yeah.
hair. If we win tomorrow, I'll go cut my hair. I need a haircut anyway. So I'll go cut my hair if we win tomorrow. All right. See you guys later, man. Thank you so much.
All right.
See
Bye,
you.
guys.
Later. Bye.